Well, today we saw more buildings downtown boarding up after word that a grand jury decision could come soon in the IMPD shooting of Dre'Jon Reed.
Indy saw several nights of peaceful protests echoing demonstrations from all across the country that called for justice after the killing of George Floyd. Protesters here, they were also demanding transparency in the Reed case. But after those peaceful May demonstrations, violence followed. A three-member commission appointed by Mayor Hogsett continues to review IMPD's response to those nights.
Fox 59's Russ McQuaid walks us through an internal IMPD report of what happened during that second night of chaos on downtown city streets.
This internal IMPD report was filed in conjunction with a lawsuit brought by Indy 10 and Black Lives Matter and the ACLU, and the settlement of that lawsuit has curbed IMPD's use of riot control tactics. Friday night ended early Saturday morning, with IMPD struggling to regain control of downtown Indianapolis after the violent vandalism that followed noisy but peaceful protests that began on Monument Circle the night before.
I'm about in tears. I don't know how this is supposed to be going on.
I figured they're coming back. I figured we're going to go through this again today.
Just look at this.
While downtown dug out from under the wreckage, Mayor Hogsett said he spent Saturday meeting with protesters, and they had agreed to go home at 7 o'clock that night to avoid more violence.
We met with the mayor Saturday morning in regards to the uprising that occurred on Friday evening.
We're hoping to avoid that this evening, which I hope will be yet another step in making this evening safe and peaceful, as last night was not.
During a press briefing on Saturday afternoon, nobody, and that includes me, bothered to ask the mayor about whether or not he would put a curfew into effect Saturday night. However, a top-ranking IMPD officer told me that during a briefing here at the command center, attended by IMPD and the mayor's people, it was brought up, do we need a curfew tonight? And the answer was, the city's corporation council could not get the paperwork done until the next day. As a result, IMPD was left with a new response to try to identify the troublemakers in the crowd and pull them out and arrest them before trouble could start. During the 5 o'clock hour, protesters marched back down Meridian Street as Saturday evening diners on Mass Ave tried to carry on with business as usual. Persons carrying orange cones, police say that's a visual identifier of a protest leader, returned to the streets with protest supplies like milk to neutralize the effects of anticipated tear gas.
IMPD besieged that supply of ours, took and destroyed our medical supplies, and then less than an hour later, tear gassed people who were in the area. And it appears that it was done knowingly, that we would not have access to those supplies.
Some people also brought sticks and tennis rackets as they hit the streets, and tensions continued to percolate until just before 9 p.m. when a crowd gathers at the city-county building. A window is broken. A man points the protesters away to the direction of Whole Foods at Alabama and Market Street, where, minutes later, police report bottles are being thrown. An officer is hit in the face with a brick. IMPD responds with tear gas.
I would say that the protests both days were largely peaceful until IMPD began throwing tear gas at protesters, and that is when things started to get more ugly.
According to IMPD's own use of force reports, officers deployed 15 riot smoke grenades on the circle. Protesters launched Molotov cocktails. IMPD reports a woman tried to grab an officer's CS launcher, and officers used baton strikes to bring her down before making arrests. Our crews on the scene heard gunfire fill the air, and I heard a field commander tell his officers about the rioters, quote, "They're very good. They're matching us tactic for tactic."
That is what we saw occur in front of the city-county building. Rioters using amber lights and emergency equipment in private vehicles to block Market on one end. You had other rioters join arms and make a human chain at the other end.
That's when IMPD moved on a crowd at Market and Pennsylvania Street, where windows were being broken. This is McQuaid. The cops are moving now. Turned a corner, where the riot literally became a dumpster fire. IMPD reports of gunfire and vandalism became more widespread.
I seen someone carrying a sledgehammer to bust out the windows of these businesses.
At 11:30 p.m., a woman is robbed at gunpoint in a parking garage at Pennsylvania and Vermont Streets. Minutes later, Chris Beatty is shot to death just across the street. IMPD Chief Randy Taylor addresses reporters at midnight.
Enough is enough. Indianapolis, we are better than this. Downtown is not safe at this time.
At the command center, Chief Taylor was asked about Mayor Hogsett's response when it became apparent that the protesters' promises to go home early didn't happen.
The mayor's not here with me, but we've had numerous conversations throughout the night.
I must say, Russ, given what I saw on TV and given the way Saturday night developed, I'm not altogether sure, even had I issued a curfew, that violence could have been prevented that night.
Meanwhile, over at the Indiana Convention Center, a fire is burning in the street, and shots have been fired into windows. Circle Center Mall is looted for a second night. At 1:18 a.m., IMPD's report reads, quote, crowd possibly trying to set homeless man on fire between Washington and Maryland. At 2:05 a.m., at Pennsylvania and Market Streets, where IMPD dispersed crowds with tear gas 4 hours later, quote, 18-year-old man shot and killed. Minutes later, on that exact spot, quote, male arrested for punching officer in face. IMPD's computer-aided dispatch system reports more gunfire and vandalism and robberies and arrests until dawn. The sun rises once again, and Indianapolis takes stock of the second night of mayhem downtown.
The mayor disregarded our call for transparency and accountability, and the onus is on the city as well as the police force as far as the $7 million+ in damage and the murders that occurred in downtown Indianapolis.
Now, the federal lawsuit filed by Indy 10, Black Lives Matter, and the ACLU has successfully curbed IMPD's ability to use tear gas in crowd control situations. It'll be up to Mayor Hogsett's hand-picked commission to write the final report to determine what IMPD did right and did wrong during that last weekend in May. In downtown Indianapolis, Russ McQuaid, Fox 59 News.
And Fox 59 also obtained a minute-by-minute report outlining IMPD's response to the first night of violence in May. You can find that story from Russ McQuaid right now at fox59.com.